The Ant-Man movie is amazing, but there were lots of people that wondered why it focused on a guy named Scott Lang, when it's likely that if you've ever heard of Ant-Man before the movie, it's been in reference to the original, Hank Pym. Heck, Hank was even Ant-Man during the flashbacks in the movie. Well, don't worry, because your friendly neighborhood comic Drake is here to give you the 411. When electronics expert Scott Lang couldn't support his family, he turned to a life of crime and became a burglar, which landed him a nice, warm spot in jail. Our protagonist, ladies and gentlemen. While in the slammer, Scott's wife divorced him, and he was let out early due to good behavior. Around this time, Scott's daughter Cassie was diagnosed with a rare heart condition, and whose only chance of survival was to be treated by Dr. Erica Sondheim, a surgeon who specializes in laser surgery. There's only one problem though. She's being held captive in a factory. With high-tech security and plenty of guards, Scott hatched a plan to sneak in. First, he broke into Hank Pym's lab and stole the Ant-Man suit. I mean, it's not like Hank was using it since at the time he was assuming the role of Yellow Jacket. No, not that one. That guy is actually this guy. Let me explain. Using the Ant-Man suit, Scott broke into the factory only to discover that his daughter's would-be surgeon was taken prisoner by its owner, Darren Cross. Okay, so get this. Cross also has a rare heart condition which, to oversimplify things, made him overuse his heart. To combat this, he kidnapped Dr. Sondheim and a bunch of homeless people so that she can constantly replace his heart with that of another homeless person every time that he burns through one. That is some straight up James Bond level villainy right there. Scott managed to save the day and get Cassie the treatment that she needed, but guess who shows up? Hank freaking Pym. Apparently Hank was there the entire time and decided not to do anything so that he could see how Scott handled his suit. When Scott tries to return it, Yellow Jacket basically just says, "Nah bro, that's yours now." So now with Hank's blessing, Scott was the brand new Ant-Man, and he superheroed around for a little bit and even joined multiple teams such as the Fantastic Four and even the Heroes for Hire, where he met and dated Jessica Jones for a brief period of time after the team disbanded. But they broke up when Scott found out that she was pregnant with Luke Cage's baby. After losing custody of his daughter, Scott joined the Avengers, where he butted heads with the hero Jack of Hearts, but they slowly became friends. In fact, when Scott's daughter gets kidnapped, he and Jack of Hearts go save her, with Jack dying in the process. But because comics, Scarlet Witch brings Jack back to life as a zombie and sicks him on the Avengers. When Scott attempts to talk to Jack, he explodes and kills Scott. In the wake of her father's death, Cassie becomes the hero Stature, joins the Young Avengers, and manages to bring her father back to life a few years later. Well, the Young Avengers actually travel back in time to the day that Scott died and take him back to the present day instead, so Scott's alive again, mainly because Marvel wanted him to be the star of the Ant-Man movie. Oh, and Cassie almost immediately gets killed by Dr. Doom. On the bright side though, Scott gets his revenge when he joins the Future Foundation and nearly kills Doom. Thankfully, they're cool again since Dr. Doom brought Cassie back to life during the events of Axis. Good on you, Doom. Good on you. Nowadays, Scott is busy running Ant-Man Security Solutions, a private security firm which, in his own words, is, "Because I know a lot about how to steal your stuff, I know a lot about how not to let your stuff get stolen." With his employees, the former villains Grizzly and Machine Smith, they help get all the things not stolen. Except for Cassie, who was kidnapped. Again. This time, it's by Augustine Cross, the son of Darren Cross, the dude from Scott's origin story. Oh, and he kidnapped Dr. Sondheim too. So in a weird deja vu turn of events, Augustine wants Dr. Sondheim to transplant Cassie's heart into his father, since the Pym particles in her blood will allow her heart to grow and shrink as needed to fight his disease. Okay, now Darren Cross is alive again, and tries to kill Scott. But the Pym particles in his bloodstream causes him to shrink and shrink and shrink, and he eventually runs away with his son. Thankfully, Dr. Sondheim was able to transplant a new heart into Cassie during the fight, but it was incompatible with her body, so Scott shrinks down and fights off white blood cells since Cassie's body thinks that the new heart is a foreign invader. The day is saved! Cassie is saved! Scott pushes Cassie away emotionally so that she can have a normal life, and as of this recording, that is the current state of Scott Lang's life. It is, confusing, to say the least, but I think I did a decent job. If you want to learn more about Scott, then I highly recommend reading the Marvel Now run of Ant-Man, the 2012 run of Future Foundation, and Avengers: The Children's Crusade. But as always, now it's time for a vote. If you want to see a video on Scott's daughter, then click on Cassie. But if you want a video on the guy that accidentally killed Scott, then click on Jack of Hearts. You can click on this video to learn more about Hank Pym, or click on this one for a super quick rundown on the lives of all of the Ant-Men.